Welcome back, everybody. It's Monday, September 4th. John Aravosis here with the Aravosis Report, coming to you live from Chicago for the rest of the week. Then I'm back to Washington, D.C. How's everybody doing? It's a holiday in America. September 4th is Labor Day, sort of the unofficial or maybe official end of summer, which kind of sucks, although it's still not almost 100 degrees here, so it's not exactly not summery, but you get what I mean. Anyway, introduce yourselves, say where you are from. I will get TikTok rolling here on my iPad. As always, we'll take 2 minutes or so for folks to arrive because, the message kind of goes out on TikTok and YouTube, and it always takes a minute. It seems to take a minute for it to get out there. Oops, unstable connection. Don't you dare. There we go. I was going to say my iPad was claiming it had an unstable connection. I was like, don't you dare. So hopefully. Hopefully it's the right connection. That would bum me out. Oh, well. Oh, God, you're both on bad. Okay. They're both on the weird backup connections. I'm not liking that. Too much memory. I know that. Nothing I can do about it. All right. And actually, you guys are on the slower connection. I'm shifting you on YouTube right now. It'll take a quick second, but then it'll switch over to the next connection. So beware. It's going to go boop for a second. That you're not on the one. We've got coming back on. There you guys are. Too much memory. There's nothing else on. Hey, Red Watts, thank you for that. TikTok is so strange. Yes, I know that YouTube fits out because I switched the internet connection. So now you should be on the better connection, one hopes. Hey, Kyle, Jenny, Red Watts, thank you for that. It's buffering in and out. It's claiming it's a good connection now. I don't know. Let's see. Worst comes to worst, the problem is if I try to actually look and see, I colored my hair green. No. No. Hopefully that's not the way it's coming across. That would be a little weird. Hey, Charles in London. Happy Memorial Day. Привет. Exactly. Konkaranga, thank you for the gift. St. John's, Newfoundland. Very nice. Oh, anyway, guys. Hello. Happy holiday. Thank you, Arifa. Or happy end of summer. That's not exactly a happy, I would say. It's officially a holiday in America today, Labor Day. So, which is sort of the unofficial end of summer, Memorial Day, sort of the official beginning, or unofficial. I never know which way that cuts. But thank you, Big Hawk. Kyle in Canada. Hello. Ashleen in Ireland. Lovely. What else is I going to do today? Sorry, Andrea was saying she's surprised I'm on today. But, it's not like Memorial Day is a big family holiday or something, or Labor Day. Thank you, Norway. Right? What else are we doing today? Celebrating labor? You're on a call and working. That's what I mean. I was like, why not? All right, guys. I can get rolling here. Oh, hey, Kevin and Elgin. Nice to see you. I can get rolling here. So welcome, everybody. Hey, Manda. Today is LWD. Thank you. Today's day 558 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military invasion of Ukraine. Hey, Maddie. And is that is it? Oh, I'm forgetting the name of our friend from Iraq. So I'm scrolling back here. I'm not seeing it in front of me here. All right, I'm not seeing it now. Say hi again, our friend from Iraq. Always like that he joins us on YouTube. Anyway, so welcome everybody. So yeah, the way the show works, first half of the show or so, I will be sorry, Amanda. The first half of the show, I will be doing the news. Second half of the show, take your guys' questions. Razan, that's it. Thank you, Charles, for the gift there. Razan in Iraq. Good to see you, Razan. So the first half of the show, I'll do the news. Second half of the show, take your guys' questions. You know how it works. As always, if you want to do a question immediately, do a super chat question on YouTube. You pay for those, but basically you're giving me a gift to support my work. And as a thank you, I will get to your question immediately or as soon as I finish my current thought. Otherwise, we'll do questions for free, of course, at the end of the show, second half of the show. Thank you, Chief. Also, please do keep the TikTok gifts coming as well. I will always try to do a shout out for the big ones that fly up on the screen like I just did for Chief and Charles. What else? I don't think there is anything else. Please do, as I said, keep the gifts coming on TikTok and YouTube. Thank you, PP. Nice to see CC. Yeah, I appreciate the gift on YouTube there. As I said, please do keep the gifts coming because I do this for free and I do it full time. So you guys, your gifts literally help me keep doing the show. So thank you for that. All right. So let's get rolling. So kind of a weird story out of Ukraine and Romania today. So, let me get my handy dandy map. 1 second. I'll pull my neck down. So, Russia, as you guys know, Russia pulled out of the grain agreement in July, so a couple months ago. And basically, it was an agreement whereby Russia promised not to bomb Ukrainian ships trying to export grain. The deal went on for about a year, and then Russia pulled out because Russia, as bullies are, is always wanting to get more and more and more, right? So they basically threatened to blow up Ukrainian ships. Thank you, Elizabeth. To blow up Ukrainian ships. And Ukraine found a workaround. So Ukraine has now found a workaround that has worked for at least 4 ships to basically hug the NATO coastal waters so the Russians can't attack the ships, right? Thank you, Succeed. If the ships are in NATO waters, the Russians can't enter those waters and they won't bomb in those waters. So anyway, that's what Ukraine's doing. It's been working so far. What the Russians are doing in response is they decided they would just go and blow up Ukrainian grain facilities, right? If they're not going to blow up the ships, thank you, Elizabeth and Greg. If they're not going to blow up the ships, they'll just blow up the ports that the Ukrainians use to export their grain, including the warehouses and everything else, right? So that's what's going on now. So last night, the Russians spent 3 hours blowing up the Ukrainian the Ukrainian port of Izmail. Izmail is on the Danube River. Oops, upside down map on the Danube River between Ukraine and, I'm going to guess, I don't remember if Izmail is the first one or the second one, but it's around here on the Danube, sharing Ukraine with Romania. Okay. Oop, thank you, Nathan and user 99978. Thanks, guys. And Norway. So down here, the Russians were bombing for 3 hours last night, caused a lot of damage. But what they also did, according to the Ukrainians, is 2 of their drones ended up landing in or crashing in NATO country, in Romania. Kind of a bad deal because weapons of war should not be landing in NATO countries. Thank you, Don. The Ukrainians say it absolutely happened and they can prove it. Thank you, Makab. Interestingly enough here, the Romanians are, well, I'm going to pull up the quote here. The Romanians are kind of saying it didn't happen. I think the Romanians are lying. Now, I particularly think they're lying because the Romanian explanation for it not happening is in politics, we call this a non-denial denial. So meaning it's a denial, but it's really not a denial. Oh, thank you, Carl. I appreciate that as well for the super sticker on YouTube. Listen to the Ukrainian, actually, the Romanian denial of 2 Russian drones hitting Romanian territory, okay? At no time did the means of attack employed by the, even look at the language, not the drones. At no time did the means of attack employed by the Russian Federation pose direct military threats to our national territory or Romania's territorial waters. They did not say Russian drones did not hit Romania. They said at no time, I'm going to paraphrase because they're saying, the means of attack, they mean drones. At no time did Russian drones pose direct military threats. Thank you, By My Rules and Mark Star and Adventures. Okay. No time did the drones pose direct military threats to Romanian territory. Well, yeah, a drone that accidentally goes off course and crashes in Romania does not pose a direct threat to Romanian territory, but it did go off course and it did land in Romania. So if you ask me, the Romanians aren't really lying. They're misdirecting. They're trying to make it look like the drones didn't actually hit Romania. And I can guarantee you why they're doing that. They talked to the other NATO leaders, especially to the White House, and the White House told them, pretend like nothing happened. Just pretend like nothing happened. Right. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it look like no big deal. Biden is, as always, afraid of anything that might possibly make this issue blow up with Russia. And honestly, it's kind of BS because, first of all, if the Russian drones are entering NATO territory, that's a big deal. I mean, that's a big deal. Okay. It's not a cause to go to war. So you can admit the truth and say, yes, 2 Russian drones entered Ukrainian territory and they crashed. That is completely inappropriate. Thank you, Nathan. They could have hurt or killed NATO civilians, right? Completely inappropriate, completely irresponsible of the Russians. I mean, you can do that, right? Without saying we are going to respond by nuking Moscow in 5 minutes. But for us to, and I mean, okay, I admit there is a a chance. I think it's a small chance. There's a chance that the Ukrainians are wrong and a drone didn't really hit. I think that's crazy because, as I said, Romania's own statement doesn't say that the drones didn't hit Romania. It says nothing posed a direct military threat. Even the use of the word direct, I kind of love that. I love the word direct. Sorry, but I've got to make a quick comment here. So somebody on TikTok is saying, you know nothing about what is going on behind the scenes. Few do. Yes and no, because fortunately, I've worked in politics since 1989. Well, before 1989, full time since 1989, but I started working in politics before that. And after working almost 40 years in politics, you get a feel for what's going on. And my feel for what's going on is that language being used says there. See, even my dog isn't happy about this. The language the Romanians are using is language you use to cover something up. If you are trying to say Russian drones did not enter our territory or hit our territory, you would say at no time last night did any Russian drones enter our territory or land in our territory. That's what you would say. You wouldn't say at no time did they pose a direct military threat. Think about this. Direct military threat. I'm a lawyer too. As soon as somebody says, well, they didn't pose a direct military threat, I say, oh, so you mean, did they pose an indirect military threat? Right? I mean, why throw in the word direct? The only reason you throw in the word, I'm sorry, but we are talking international diplomacy here, okay? The only reason you would throw in the word direct is because you're trying to differentiate something. And frankly, thank you, Jim, you're trying to lie without lying. So you're trying to write a statement that says it didn't happen, but you don't really want to lie. So you say, at no time was there a direct military threat to, well, we know there wasn't a direct military threat, except the drone still landed there. In any case, my point here is we're dealing with Putin. Putin's a bully. The only way Putin is going to not maybe stop being a bully, but be less of a bully is calling him out on stuff. When Putin has two drones that potentially hit Romania last night, okay, which is an Article 5. I mean, it's a potential Article 5 violation. It's potentially an attack on NATO, even if it was unintentional. If your response is to get mad and tell him, dude, we told you don't ever let this happen again, you're being irresponsible, that could have a good impact. If your response is to go, no, it never happened. It's okay. And it's okay. And the reason we're saying, and by the way, we know this, the reason we're saying it never happened is because we're very afraid of you. And we don't want you to get mad at us because we're afraid of war, and anything could cause war with you. And we're terrified of having war with you. If that's the message you send to a bully, thank you, Martin. The bully is literally rubbing his hands going, this is freaking great, right? So Putin, if I'm Putin and I'm briefing Putin, I would tell him what happened last night was NATO made clear one more time that they're terrified of you and they are terrified of going to war with you, and they will do anything, they will accept anything practically to stop going to war with you, even to stop the perceived threat of going to war with you. So have fun, Vladimir Putin, going after NATO. Anyway, Maddie Man, do you think, thank you, Life. Do you think the White House will be more aggressive towards Russia after the 2024 elections? No. This is Biden. I mean, again, Biden has been way better with this war than Trump would be. In principle, Trump might have been embarrassed into helping Ukraine. So Trump, the irony is, the only possibility, not the only possibility, the one good possibility had Trump won re-election is Trump would have been embarrassed because Trump did start taking a harder and harder line towards Russia, I think because he felt like he had to prove he wasn't in Putin's pocket. So maybe Trump would have supported Ukraine because he would have felt he had to. And if Trump supported Ukraine, then you would have had a lot of Republicans supporting Ukraine too, because Trump was doing it, right? Very interesting, right? That would have been good. But otherwise, I don't think this is about the elections at all. This isn't about the elections. It's not, this is about Biden. Biden likes comity, C-O-M-I-T-Y. Thank you, Allie. I was wondering what that's a new gift. I was wondering what that looks like. He likes comity. He likes reaching agreements. I think, I could be wrong, but I think somebody got in his ear, and it's probably the chairman, our top general, and it's probably his national security advisor, Jake Sullivan, and they've convinced him that this thing with Russia could blow up at any minute, any wrong move, and it could blow up into a horrible war, right? And Biden seems to be, thank you, Mustard. Biden seems terrified of this thing blowing up into a war, and therefore not taking smart steps to avoid getting into a war with Russia, taking dumb steps into avoiding a war with Russia. You know, do I want World War III? No, that's why I think you're wrong. And that's why I think Biden's wrong, because we're going to have World War III if we have a bully who's invading his neighbors and we sit there and get down on our knees and go, please don't hurt me. That tells the bully, I'm afraid of you. I will do anything not to go to war with you. So feel free to invade and feel free to start World War III because I'm too scared. So I don't want World War III, but I guess my question would be, Mr. Twitter troll, why do you want World War III? You know? Anyway, so there you go. But yeah, Maddie, I don't think it has to deal with the elections at all. Also, after the elections, Biden could have a Republican Congress entirely at that point if he wins re-election, right? It's crazy. Anyway, all right, more news. Erdogan, the leader of Turkey, was in Russia today talking about the grain deal. As you know, as I said, Putin killed the grain deal a few months ago. Erdogan was trying to reach a deal to get it, started again. Russia said, Putin said that they will not resume the grain deal unless the West decreases the sanctions. Erdogan made a really weird comment about Ukraine needing to take a less strict attitude or something like that towards, I'm trying to remember if most of the articles mentioned it sort of briefly. And I thought I saw one article that mentioned what Erdogan was talking about. And I can't find it now. What was it? It was something else, but basically, what was it? Oh, I know what it was. Thank you, Bonnie. Erdogan was basically saying, the one quote I saw from Erdogan, the Turkish president, was that Ukraine should sort of admit up front that a lot of its grain doesn't go to poor countries. And of course, the Russians don't want Ukrainian grain going to Europe. So Erdogan is basically, thank you, Pam, wants Ukraine to sort of upfront say that like the 50% of its grain that goes to Europe just won't be exported, is what it looks like Turkey was saying today, which is insane. I mean, that's called negotiating with yourself, right? Why should we do that? But nonetheless, yeah. So Erdogan's trying to appease. Big surprise there. Sky News had a little bit of a counter-offensive update today. There isn't a ton of news today, by the way. I will tell you. Today, it's almost like the war was on. The war knew it was Labor Day in America or something. I don't know, but there's an okay amount of news, but it's not a huge amount. I'm just telling you. So we'll have ample time for questions and stuff. So Sky News had a counteroffensive update that I thought was an interesting kind of. I will tell you this first of all. There's lots of itty bitty updates on the counteroffensive today. None of it that I think is worth getting into. There was a lot of discussion on, which trenches near. What was it? Verbove or something the Ukrainians were in. I mean, it's very, thank you, Pam, for that. Yeah, that's a new gift. I thought I would pick it today because it's I hadn't seen it before. It's kind of cool. There is no rocking update on the counteroffensive, okay? Still going well for Ukraine, slowly in the south. Russia's still doing better in the north, near Kupiansk. But let's listen to this from Sky News. Ukrainian forces have been moving more freely in the Zaporizhia region. Zaporizhia, you will recall, is this Ukrainian province here. Now, the big counteroffensive is in Zaporizhia. Thank you, Frank. The big counteroffensive is in Zaporizhia. There's lots of attacks in different places, but the really big one now that looks like the one the Ukrainians are focusing on, again, maybe they'll change, but the one they're focusing on is the one here in Zaporizhia. The Ukrainian forces have been moving more freely in the Zaporizhia region after breaching Russia's strongest, most densely mined, thank you, Chad, most densely mined line of defenses. Approximately 60% of Russian defenses were located in the first line of defense, and Ukrainian soldiers now face two weaker lines ahead. This is from Sky News. Quoting the Ukrainian public broadcaster, there are fewer minefields, but one should not think that it will be easy to take them, said the spokesman for the defense forces. So, again, good news. I am in Chicago. Yep, for the rest of the week. Where do I get my information? I just said that was from Sky News. I get it from all over the place, but I try to give you citations and stuff like that. So anyway, yeah. So not a lot of news on the counteroffensive. Going ahead slowly. I will say I was reading a lot of really interesting analyses today on the counter, including one from Kaufman. What's his first name? Really, really interesting guy, defense guy. Wrote a really long update. War on the Rocks is his, I think, podcast, but also his website. Really interesting, long. Actually, Ukrainian born. Was born in the Ukrainian SSR. So the Ukraine when it was part of the Soviet Union. Thank you, Ali. Really interesting. But what I was going to say, I was thinking of this with the counteroffensive, guys. One second. What was I going to say about why I was reading his piece? Oh, yeah. Even he was saying the next few weeks could be critical. Thank you, Kat. Because if the Ukrainians are able to, he was calling it, what was it? There were two words they were using, military words, guys. One of which is when you start to basically poke through, when you start to get through the line of defense, and the other is it a breakthrough versus a breakout? I think that's it. And the breakthrough, I think, is when you poke through the line of defense, which the Ukrainians are now doing. A breakout is when you so opened it up that then it's a breach. Exactly. That then, like John is saying, that then it's a breach. That then it's just like, boom. No, it was breakthrough versus breakout were the phrases. So breakthrough is when you first get through, and breakout is when you make such a path and it's so well defended that then you just go pour your troops through. And the next 3 weeks could be critical for seeing if Ukraine is able to have a breakout where they're able to just really break through the Russian defenses. Again, a big part of the reason we're saying this is that this has been, you got 3 weeks, basically 3-4 weeks until the rainy season starts, which is not good, in Ukraine. So that's going to be a problem. All right, let me do a quick pitch here. One second, guys, sip of water. There we go. Quick sip of water. So, I will do a quick pitch for my work. As you guys know, I do this for free and I do it full time. So I always hit you up for gifts, but the reason I do it is because that literally makes it so that I can afford to keep doing this. I've been doing this full time as my job since the war broke out, so about a year and a half. I've not been doing consulting work or any of the normal stuff I would do. Thank you, Adventure. And I've been, paying my bills with the gifts the gifts you guys are giving on TikTok, the gifts on YouTube, the memberships you're doing, all sorts of stuff. So one of the ways you guys can help, in addition to please do keep the gifts coming, just to the gifts, is I always say you can also do memberships. The memberships are basically a monthly donation that you can sign up to give me, donation every month, and you can call it off when you want. It's pretty easy. Thank you, Timothy. On TikTok, you can use the TikTok subscriber and do it that way. On YouTube, you can become a YouTube member. On TikTok, it's right on the screen. It's a star on the screen, maybe by the comment box, I think. For you guys on YouTube, there should be, there's a link. If somebody's got it, I never have the link to share, but you can also click, in principle, on YouTube, you can click the little $ at the bottom by the comment box. And one of the things that comes up is memberships. But again, you'll see all the folks in green, Carrie and Greg, and who else we got here today? Carrie and Greg are the two biggies. We've got others. I saw others earlier today. Karen and Michael. Yep. A lot of other folks. All the folks in green are on TikTok, on YouTube, are the monthly subscribers. You guys can also do it on Discord. You can do it on Ko-fi. Ko-fi link is on the screen right there. Ko-fi for you guys. It's basically a Patreon. Ko-fi is like a Patreon. You can do it with that via my URL on TikTok. If you go to my if you go to my bio on TikTok, my profile, and you'll see the link there, the Linktree link, click it, and you'll see Ko-fi at the top. You'll also see my PayPal. Anyway, lots of different ways for helping, guys. If you can, I'd appreciate it. If you've been listening for a while, if you can afford it, I'd appreciate the help. So thank you. All right, let's keep going here. So lots of little updates. A fire broke out at an oil depot in St. Petersburg, Russia this weekend. We don't know who did it, but we hope it's the Ukrainians. Zelensky says he struck a key deal on pilot training with the French. Now, this one has me very interesting. Thank you, Nicola, for the gift. This one has me, and Adventures for the mic check. This one has me very interested. So Zelensky meets with French President Macron. Okay, thank you, Josh. And says he struck a deal for pilot training. The thing is, the French don't have F-16. The French don't have F-16s. which are the American planes the Ukrainians supposedly are getting and need to do the training on. The French have Rafale fighter jets and they have Mirage 2000 fighter jets. So why would the French be doing training on fighter jets for the Ukrainians unless the French were training how to fly French jets? And if the French reached a deal to train the Ukrainians to fly French jets, that could only mean that the Ukrainians are getting French jets, right? Because why would you waste the time? So they're not, the stories explicitly said, it was not said what kind of training the Ukrainians would get. But all the stories say, but the French don't have F-16s. So why would they train? So very weird here. I really hope this means that there's a chance they would be getting the French jets, but we don't know. I will also say Zelensky sounded very happy today. And to simply say, we found someone else to do F-16 training, even though they don't have F-16, so they really can't train us, wouldn't be a, oh my God, not oh my God, but like a happy. Let's see. My gut is telling me maybe something bigger happened here, which would be really great, but we'll see. Reznikov, so the Ukrainian defense minister, stepped down today. He is being replaced by a gentleman named Rustem Umarov, who is a Muslim Tatar from Crimea. Basically, there was too much corruption in the Defense Department of Ukraine, in the Ministry of Defense, and Reznikov just, kind of his time was up. No one is saying that Reznikov himself was responsible for the corruption, which is good, or that he knew about it. Thank you, Andre, for the super sticker. But there were too many scandals with procurement and this kind of stuff that it just, I think, looked so bad that Reznikov had to step down. Zelensky won the election, originally when he became president, going after corruption and saying he would, Ukraine had been corrupt, or the government had been very corrupt. He was going to change things. So that's the first problem there, right? That he ran on going after corruption. He can't keep having these scandals again and again and again with the same minister at the ministry. The second problem, I think, and we're not going to hear this publicly, is I think, NATO allies told Zelensky, look, we have to defend back home, especially the Americans. We deal with some people that are not very friendly on this. And one of the arguments they keep bringing up is that you're all corrupt and you're going to steal our money. We can't afford to have procurement scandals, spending scandals at the Ministry of Defense, the very place we're giving our money to. We can't afford that and try to get you guys more money. Thank you, Mustard. That's putting future aid in danger. Whereas now, with Reznikov's head rolling, people back here in the States can say, oh, no. Ukraine got rid of their defense minister when that happened, right? So the guy apparently is very good. He had a great relationship with a lot of the leaders in the West and the military folks in the West, but it was one scandal too many at this point. It just, at some point, and again, in a democracy, at some point, you step down. Thank you, 863, Tom. This was an interesting story. Okay, I'm going to put this out there. I'm not going to say it's 100% correct. Thank you, Mustard, and Lori for the hat. But a German member of parliament is claiming that Chancellor Scholz, the head of Germany, the leader of Germany, is the one responsible for blocking Ukraine getting Taurus missiles from Ukraine, from Germany. Thank you, Chazak. I love that I know Charles, Alaska, Chazak. Very interesting. She's claiming, a German member of parliament is claiming that the reason we've had such a weird back and forth on getting these Taurus missiles, which the Germans have been playing a dance with Ukraine for about a month now. It's been a little weird, maybe longer, but a month that I've been seeing it. Will they provide them? Maybe they'll provide them. Maybe they're going to reprogram the missiles so they can't strike Russia and then Ukraine will get them. Is that she's claiming it's Chancellor Scholz. He's the one that's blocking the missiles. Now, these missiles, I don't have all the details, but I remember reading these missiles could make a big difference. I think part of the deal is these missiles can go farther than some of the current missiles, or at least as far as Callum with us. Callum, you would know this. Maybe Mustard would know what the range is of the German Taurus versus, for example, the Storm Shadow, the British cruise missiles. Bottom line is these are considered really good. But nonetheless, what do you do? Politico. Oh God, this was annoying too. Hungary today. So, or Hungary this weekend, I should say. So the Hungarians always up for a laugh. Um, the Hungarian government, for any of you who are uninitiated, thank you, 863 Tom. The Hungarian government is super pro Ukraine. Okay. Orban, the Hungarian leader, actually, oh no, excuse me, strike that, strike that. Super pro Russia, excuse me. Orban, the Hungarian leader, loves Putin, loves Putin. I mean, I'm sorry, but this guy, thank you, Heine, this guy to me comes across like a uh, Eastern European communist dictator, Orban. He looks the part, he acts the part, loves the Russians, can't stand the Ukrainians, wishes they weren't in the war. I mean, wishes just NATO wasn't in this war at all, right? Thank you, Simon, for that. And he, one of his top aides or ministers says that the West should give Russia security guarantees to end the war. Okay. The West should give Russia security guarantees and ban Ukraine from joining NATO. Right. Thank you for the heart there. Who is that? Janice. Thank you for that. And ban, not just we don't let Ukraine into NATO, but we ban Ukraine from entering NATO, but we give Russia security guarantees, and that would end the war. That is not going to end the war, because what is going to happen if you do that is Russia is just going to regroup and take the rest of Ukraine. Russia's goal here is to get all of Ukraine. Putin lied from the. We knew this anyway. When Putin was saying, "Oh my God, I'm so afraid of Ukraine joining NATO and stuff," Ukraine had about a 0% chance of joining NATO before the war. It wasn't happening. Ukraine has been trying to join NATO since 2008. NATO has not been budging. Right? It's gone nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Okay, thank you, funny tech guy, for the Taurus range. Putin wants Ukraine. He has said he doesn't think Ukraine's a real country. He thinks literally it's the Ukrainians. This was great. The Ukrainians are basically Russians, according to Putin, who just don't understand that they're Russians. And Putin said, we need to educate them, which I love that. Like literally, it's an entire country that doesn't understand that they don't exist and they're really you. Right. Right. So anyway, the only way to end this war and not have it happen again is for Ukraine to join NATO. Anything short of that is a promise that basically Putin can break. Any peace deal Putin can break, and Putin breaks peace deals. I mean, the Prigozhin thing was a perfect example, right? He reaches a deal with Prigozhin, says, "Okay, I forgive you. You don't come after me. I won't come after you. Blah blah blah." And 2 months later, he blows the guy up and kills him. This is what Putin does. Putin uses peace deals to bide his time until he attacks again. Putin wants all of Ukraine. Why is he going to not want all of Ukraine if the war ends short of him getting all of Ukraine, right? Thank you, Elizabeth. 2014, Putin steals Crimea. He invades Russia, invades Ukraine, steals Crimea. 2022, he invades Ukraine again and steals the East Coast now, right? He's going to do the same thing 5 years from now. He's going to invade and take more of it, which was the plan all along. If Ukraine becomes part of NATO, and this is where we sort of come full circle on the NATO stuff, it's not just that we should ban Ukraine from NATO. We should welcome Ukraine to NATO because the war ends. I mean, as far as future war ends with Russia, if Ukraine joins NATO. I mean, the Russians can't touch Ukraine if Ukraine joins NATO. It's not like Ukraine's going to join. The BS that's put out there is that Ukraine's going to join NATO, and then the Russians are going to get so mad they're going to go to war, right? Go to war with who exactly? All of NATO? I mean, really? Like Russia that can't beat little old Ukraine is going to get so mad that we've now put our umbrella protecting Ukraine that they're going to attack all of us when they can't beat Ukraine? Think about that, right? There is a 0% chance that Russia is going to attack all of us because Ukraine, I'm sorry, I hate to be so absolute about it, but that would be insane. That would be absolutely insane. And nobody who argues the contrary can explain it. Nobody who says, oh yes, Putin will go to war can explain, okay, tell us, why exactly would Putin go to war, right? He can't beat Ukraine. So he's going to say, okay, then if I can't beat Ukraine, thank you, Megan, I want war with Poland. I want Finland, who kicked Russia's butt for 3 years, right? Back during World War II. 3 years, the Finns alone kicked Russia's butt. Norway, real kick-ass. The French, the Germans, the British, the Americans, and the Canadians. I mean, really? Like, you can't beat Ukraine, so you think, let's go to war with the Americans, the French, the Germans, the Brits, the Norwegians, the Finns, and the Poles. Because, what the hell? There is zero chance of that happening. Zero chance. That is what happens if Ukraine joins NATO. Putin gets pissed, and there's literally nothing he can do about it. And honestly, this stuff drives me kind of crazy because, again, we're projecting weakness. These kind of discussions, by the way, we have to give them, plus also Russia security. What kind of security assurances? First of all, I'm happy to give Russia security security assurances. Russia, we're not going to invade you. That's not what NATO does. I'll make the security assurances right now. Right? Great. Putin's not insane. No, Moonbeam is saying Putin is insane, and that's why we're so worried. Putin's not insane. Putin hasn't done one thing that's been insane. He's not crazy. He's not crazy. Now, interesting, Jeff is saying a lie on TikTok right now. You do realize there's a minority of people in Ukraine who identify as Hungarian. Oh, and Hungarian in the language. Yeah, I do. I don't really care. Sorry, that isn't a lie, but it's also irrelevant. You do realize there's a minority of people in America who speak Spanish and identify as Latino. So what? Who cares? I know that's not why Hungary's doing it. That's an added advantage for why Hungary's doing it. Orban, I think, is a wannabe communist dictator, and he loves Putin because that's who he is. Because he's somebody who, if this were the communist times, he's somebody who would be he would be oppressing his own people as a communist dictator, and he'd be sucking up to the Soviets leadership. Absolutely. And it's just an added advantage. Nice cheap microphone, but this attachment at the back is like something out of the 1980s. Look at this. This is the connection in the back. It's the stupidest, oldest connection that exists. I only bought it a few years ago. And of course, the connection falls right out. It doesn't hold in place. It's ridiculous. So that's why my sound disappeared on YouTube. Sorry about that. All right, guys. Anyway, yes. So I was just saying, Ukraine launched 2 drones in the cursed region of Russia and started a fire at a building belonging to the FSB. The FSB is the follow-on to the KGB, so kind of nice. I've actually got thank you, Superpower Patty. I've actually got a very nice mic back in DC that I use when I do this. I've got a Shure mic. It's a whole $500 setup, and it's great. But when I'm traveling, I've got to use the little mic because I'm not going to bring my Shure mic, my $500 mic with me. And it's this piece of garbage. It drives me crazy. I do need to grab some tape, or maybe I'll put tape. If I put tape around it, I'm going to have like this huge tape, but maybe I will. It drives me nuts. I always forget what my Shure is, but it's the nice Shure. All right, guys. Let me show you a couple of our what am I doing? I'm having a McConnell moment. Thank you, Wayne Judd. A couple of our auction items. So one of the ways that I support my work is doing auctions. And they're really cool auctions of stuff I get from Ukraine. People send me, I buy, etc. And we auction it off. And it's been pretty cool because we have been, I need a new microphone. Yeah, Ma. No, these things are like $50. I can afford, I am going to actually probably buy one with the new back because it's driving me crazy. But anyway, one of the things we do, we have these auctions. They're really cool Ukrainian stuff. And 50% of the auctions go to support Ukraine. I send the money back to Ukraine. 50% go to support my work because, as I said, I do this full time. So in order to be able to pay the bills and keep doing it, I always am hitting you guys up for the gifts, so please do keep the gifts coming. Like I would block me. Thank you. You're always very, very generous as well. I would block me. Thank you for that. The gifts on YouTube, the super chats, all of that. I do have a very nice Shure mic. Yeah, I love that mic, but it's for when I'm back in DC. But also the auctions. And we've got really cool auction items over on Discord. It's discord.aravosis.com. You guys can find the link that way. It's free. And let me show you a couple of things. So this week's auctions, among other things, really cool challenge coin. Thank you, Elizabeth. A cool challenge coin devoted to the Azov defenders. I think you guys can see it says Azovstal. Yeah, there you can see there. I'll show you guys Azovstal. And this is to the Azov battalion that was defending itself, the 2,000 men and women defending themselves against the 14,000 Russians at the Mariupol plant. So that's a nice, commemorative. It's weird after a weekend. I find I can't talk after a weekend. It's the strangest thing. But like when I haven't done the show for 3 days, all of a sudden it's like, and the phone's going to keep going off. All of a sudden it's like my brain is mush. It's really funny. This is a neat little second thing, which is a Ukrainian police badge. It is a, what do you call it? A traffic cop police badge. These are from the 1990s. This is a real one. You can see here. What's kind of neat at the bottom, you can see the number is 0058. Before that, in English, you would think that's an XH. It actually is in Ukrainian an XN, which is Kherson. So you guys, this is a badge for the town of Kherson. Yeah, Josh, exactly. Josh is calling. No, this is a badge from the town of Kherson, which is really cool. Yeah. That's good. Thank you, Dark Irish. Dark Irish is starting a fundraiser to get me duct tape for my, I could use duct tape. It just is so ugly. I hate to, Anyway, so this is one of the auction items we're auctioning off. Also got the really cool jewelry, the cool earrings, which I've shown you guys before. I don't want to lose them here. Oops. So we've got like some very cool Ukrainian earrings that are actually made from the Easter shells, which are really neat. The painted Easter eggs the Ukrainians do. So these are very pretty and very cool from Ukraine. See, they're about this size. I would not wear them, but they're this size. And they're very light. My sister, because you guys had asked, my sister picked them up and said, oh God, these are so light. Like they're surprisingly light. So don't worry about that. They're not heavy. Two more things. I've got like 8 things, but I'll show you guys some more. This is always one of my favorites. And this is a plaque, Russian warship Go F Yourself plaque. It's based on the Ukrainian commemorative stamp that shows a Ukrainian soldier giving the middle finger to the Russian warship Moskva. And the Moskva, you'll recall, so you can see here, thank you, Darren, for the gifts there. Who is that? Ava as well. The Moskva, I know, QVC, I know. The Moskva, you'll recall, is the warship that on the first day of the war, it approached Snake Island in Ukraine and told the Ukrainian troops, this is a Russian warship, surrender, right? And the Ukrainian troops replied, Russian warship, go F yourself. Right? They said in Ukrainian or in Russian. It became super famous. 6 weeks later, the Ukrainians sunk it, which I thought was absolutely wild. Zip tie is a good idea, Kelly. I see if I've got any. The Ukrainians sunk the warship. Thank you, Mustard. So that's the commemorative stamp the Ukrainians did. And finally, and I won't tell you the whole story, but finally, because this is this I knew would do well because this is very cool. But this is a commemorative thing made out of a piece of a Russian helicopter shot down the first day of the war in its attack on the Hostomel airport, which is right north of Kyiv. This was a key battle. This is the piece of metal from the helicopter. They put a cute little commemorative thing on it, showing the helicopter, the Ka-52 Alligator, what the coordinates were. You guys can see here what the coordinates were of it being shot down. And the Ukrainians made a little commemorative plaque because this was arguably the most important battle of the war, really. This battle, had the Ukrainians lost this battle, the Russians would have gone on and potentially taken Kyiv within those first few days. Thank you, Tomcat. So very cool. And the final thing with this, which is kind of neat, is this was given to me by thank you, Not Jedrick. This was given to me by a Ukrainian children's hospice that we had done some fundraising for. We do a lot of fundraising for different Ukrainian causes. And the hospice had approached my friend Vlad in Ukraine and said, we need pencils and paper. Of all things, they needed pencil and paper for the children to be able to like draw and stuff. And if they had any extra money, they would buy them some toys. So we raised a couple $1,000. And as a thank you, they gave us several of these as a thank you for helping them out. So Vlad got one. So I've got one. Vlad gets one. I get one. And then we've got a couple that we're auctioning off. So that's what these are. So, but they're very neat because, like I said, it also shows you right there. You can see the helicopter. Oh, and I always forget. And the little whatchamacallit, the code on the front pulls up a YouTube that shows the helicopter being shot down, which is really cool. Look at that. The code on the very front. It pulls up the YouTube of the helicopter being shot down, which I think is classic Ukrainian ingenuity. Anyway, those are many of our auction items. The way you guys can get involved, go to my Discord. It's discord.aravosis.com, and you can help out by bidding on the auction items. Okay, so thank you for that. Can I add that code to my wall? I have no idea. Oh, behind me? Yeah, that's true. I mean, it just pulls up a quick video of the helicopter being shot down, but it is kind of cool. All right. Let's talk, guys. So what do we got here today? Questions, comments. Thank you, Dark Irish, again. That was very cute. Questions, comments. What do we got? My mods are always on fire. Wow. I'm not sure there are many cracks. Charles says, what's your opinion on the cracks of the relationship between Ukraine and Poland? You know, I mean, the only main cracks I've seen have been on agriculture, you know, because the Poles, like many European countries, are a little freaked out because the Ukrainian grain is coming through, but then it's hurting their farmers. And let's face it, if you want re-election in a free democracy, you don't go being mean to your farmers, right? So I understand that. But I mean, I think honestly, Duda in Poland has shown he hates the Russians. He would love to go to war with the Russians. And he has been ridiculously defensive of Ukraine. And I think he will continue to defend Ukraine. I'm not just saying this as rah-rah. I mean, he can't stand the Russians. And he gets that what happens in Ukraine is going to affect his country next. So yeah, no, I don't think there's much of a crack. I don't think there's a crack. I think the agriculture issue is a big deal, and that's going to cause, some consternation between the allies, but that's some friction. Fuel depot. Andy, I saw some kind of a fuel depot that got blown up yesterday, maybe? Is that the one? I saw some video of it, but I didn't get any details, so I didn't mention it. But was it yesterday, perhaps? Let me know. Kelly says, did you cover Ukraine's drones? I'm not sure what you mean, Kelly. Maybe not. What in specific? I mean, I know, we know they're working on new drones and all of that, but was there something particular in the last day? Let me know. What else we got, guys? Yesterday? Okay, that was I saw a really good photo of it, actually. Yeah, the Ukrainians set, I guess, oil depot or fuel depot on fire. The Russians in eastern Ukraine, which is great. What else we got? Number 9. Oh, number 9 on my list. Ukraine's drones. Oh, that was just the last. That was just the last little thing I said briefly, where I said that Ukraine had attacked in Kursk, and they attacked the FSB building, the building belonging to the follow-on of the Russian KGB. So it was kind of nice. They set the building on fire. It was just sort of a small story, but it was kind of a go Ukraine. But also, I kind of like the fact they went after like an FSB building in Kursk. It was just so detailed of intelligence. You know what I mean? F-16 updates. There aren't really any updates. I mean, the Ukrainians are undergoing the training now. The training won't finish until January or February for the first group of folks. They're not expected to get the planes until at best then, but probably not till next summer. So there's no real update on that. The tanks, we're still waiting. Supposedly the first 10 American Abrams tanks should be arriving these first 2 weeks. Thank you, Elizabeth. Mom's hanging in there. Thank you, Elizabeth. So that's what we're kind of waiting for, the American tanks to arrive. All right, YouTubers. Jeez, how annoying. All right, hopefully it's back. I know duct tape. I know duct tape. Duct tape. Silent movie. I know you guys are good. We know you guys can hear. Are 10 tanks even enough to be effective? I mean, Callum, you and Mustard are my go-to guys. I mean, will 10 tanks make any difference? I mean, I will say this. The thinking is that the US is that the Ukrainians are not going to bunch all the tanks together anyway, right? They're not going to like put all the Abrams tanks in the same unit. So each individual unit that gets an Abrams tank will be leveled up by that tank. So it's not bad. I mean, Callum says yes, it'll make a difference even getting 10 tanks. Okay. Okay. Deb is saying the same. I mean, is the idea because basically if they were to go straight into the counteroffensive, they could potentially make some impact there? You know, Ash says, depending where they are placed, it can make a. How do you know this, Ash? Are you like some secret military person I don't know about? I love that you're the one saying this. Like, how do you know that? That's more than I know. You're funny. Grandpa. Okay, Grandpa. Tom says, how much better is an Abrams than a T-90, which are those new Russian tanks or whatever they call them? Well, we're not even sure if the T-90s work, of course. I think these guys can tell you here. I think the issue is we don't even know if the T-90s are any good, really. Didn't they just withdraw them again, the T-90s, I thought, the Russians? North Korea. So the North Korea story is kind of interesting. I didn't like get into it yet, but the North Korean dictator is going to be coming to Russia, I think in a month. And there have been like diplomatic missions back and forth from the Russian Minister of Defense going to North Korea, et cetera. And the concern is, of course, that the Russians are trying to get weapons from the North Koreans. So, you know, it's the T-14s. Okay. But the concern is that the Russians may be getting, you know, basically artillery is what they really need from the North Koreans. If, you know, Kim, oh, sorry, Sash. If Kim is coming, sorry, I kicked my dog's bed. Sorry about that. You okay? If Kim is coming for a visit to Russia, that's dangerous because you want to come up? Okay. Because typically when you have that kind of a summit, you want to, okay, I'll show them. She hates when I do this. Can I show you? I know you're okay. Oh my God. She literally like pulled away from me like she was going to run. I know. Oh my God. Don't worry. Okay. Oh my gosh. She made these noise. She made the noise. That's okay. She needs a haircut, but she made the, oh my God noise when I picked her up. Like, don't be sad. You're going to lick me. Okay. She's going to lick me now. Okay. There you go. Thank you. That lick is sort of the sign that everything's okay. She's like, all right. Hi. Yeah. I'm going to put you down. People wanted to see you. All right. Yeah. All right. They never get to see, they get to hear you. Never get to see. And now the kukla's gone. There's no one to bother my show in the last 5 minutes. Here you go. She's 13 and a half. Hanging in there. She's very healthy so far. Knock on wood. Okay. Here you go. Okay. Okay. Here you go. All right. That's okay. She hates being picked up. Even when I pick her up, she hates being picked up. So like the second I started to grab her, she was like, oh my God. Supposedly, yes, Steve is saying supposedly the Russians claim they blew up 4 Ukrainian ships that no, we're not playing right now. I know I gave you affection. That was not a sign that I was going to play with you. No. I'm getting the noise like, why aren't you playing with me? You know, it's a story I didn't report on because the Russians are claiming it. I don't believe the Russians. The Russians are saying, no, not right now. You know, the Russians are saying they blew up some Ukrainian ships with special forces. Did they? The Russians lie. Yeah, so it's just, there's no way to really report on it unless the Ukrainians admit it. But the Russians lie about so much that, you know, I just don't think we can trust them, to be honest. I mean, I know we can't trust them. What I mean is, I just don't think I can trust that story. There's no point in, you know, hello, there you go. Okay. She's back on the chair next to me. She finally believed I'm not going to pick her up again. Yeah, Tom, what can I do as an American to really help people in Ukraine? Honestly, you can donate. I mean, I'm not just saying like to me, but you can find Ukrainian charities and donate. You could donate directly to the Ukrainian government. I'm sure their website is still accepting. They had the Ukrainian government had links for, they basically, through the Ukrainian bank, they had humanitarian aid and military aid. So you could donate literally directly to the military, or you could donate for humanitarian help for the people. If you're somebody who gets creeped out by helping, I mean, I don't get creeped out, but some people don't want to give to the military. That's fine. I don't have the links in front of me, but you can probably Google it, or you can certainly find some charities like Razum for Ukraine is really good. United 24, that's true. Yeah, United 24 is a big Ukrainian government charity. So it's associated with the Ukrainian government, United 24. I would say Google them, actually. That's perfect. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sort of, thank you, Courtney. I mean, I really do. I think that's like the best way anybody is that really just give directly to the Ukrainians, because any money you're giving them is helping them buy drones, buy equipment, buy, everything, financial aid to help their people, because also their economy, is hurting right now too. Donating to Maui, feel free to. Nobody's stopping you from giving. The neat thing about being a human being is you can give more than once in your life. I hope you have helped people more than once in your life. So you can give to help Ukraine, and then you can hang up the phone and pick up the phone again and give to help Maui. Isn't that neat? Do both. Yeah. No, you should donate to do both. And then next week, find something else to donate to. No one's stopping you. Help both. Anyway, what else we got? Cats hate being picked up, I would imagine. Yeah. Sasha's not noticed that Kukla's gone. My mom's dog died a few weeks ago, sadly. And I don't think Sasha's noticed. I mean, she's noticed, but she's a dog. So I don't know that she quite has figured it out. Because also she was jealous of Kukla. There's that aspect of it. She didn't like my mom's dog, but my mom's dog really liked my dog, and my dog kind of tolerated her. So, it's hard to tell if she's missing her or she's kind of going, yes, I've got the house to myself, so my dog's a little evil. What candidate should I vote for to ensure the American aid to Ukraine? Here's the deal. If you're talking president, Biden's the really only candidate on the Democratic side. He supports aid to Ukraine. On the Republican side, there are certain people who do not support aid to Ukraine at all. Donald Trump, that Vivek guy, absolutely 100%, okay, against helping Ukraine. Ron DeSantis cannot make up his mind. Ron DeSantis has gone back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I wouldn't trust him. He's been opposed. First, I think he came out and said he was opposed. There was 1 month that he changed his mind 4 times because he got beaten up by conservative Republicans who said, "What do you mean you're not going to, you're not going to stand up to Russia?" And then he stood up, and then he got beaten up by, the MAGA guys, and because Ron DeSantis is trying to win the MAGA vote, and the MAGA vote, Trump has convinced them to be anti-Ukraine, not 100%, but a lot of them, so that DeSantis doesn't know what he wants. But DeSantis is a crapshoot, whether you're going to get any support of Ukraine. Nikki Haley, very supportive of Ukraine. Thank you, Ellie. Chris Christie, very supportive of Ukraine. Mike Pompeo, not a big name, but very supportive of Ukraine. The problem is the top 3 guys right now, or top 3 people, but they're guys, are Trump, bad. DeSantis, usually bad. Think Mike, and Vivek, really bad on Ukraine. So and Biden, good. I mean, that's what you got. But there are other Republican candidates that are good on Ukraine, as I just said. So, which is good, but they're not the ones. No, Pompeo too. Pence as well. I'm sorry, Pence is good too. No, Pompeo's been very good. Yeah, Pompeo's running too. I don't know if he's still around. Thank you, Dora. But Pompeo's been very outspokenly in support of Ukraine. So is Pence, I should say. Yes, Pence has been. I forgot about that. Mike Pence has been making a lot of good comments about Ukraine too. Thank you, Pedro. No, but people were asking. But I'm not sort of telling you who to vote for overall, but I'm saying on just the Ukraine issue, which I was asked, those would be the candidates. Oh, Pedro, I keep forgetting you're in Finland with your name. You confuse me. What else? Kelly's cat just died. Sorry, Kelly. Oh no. Both of your cats. Kelly, I'm sorry. Oh my God, that's horrible. Yeesh. Do you think Ukraine is saying Russia hit Romania to get NATO involved? I think they're telling the truth. The Ukrainians tend not to lie, but I'm serious about this. From what we've seen within a year and a half of this war, the Ukrainians, maybe they'll occasionally get stuff wrong or whatever, right? But they don't really lie. So I don't think the Ukrainians would be saying absolutely positively it was a Russian drone hit and we've got the proof. I'm not convinced they would say that. Now, in terms of why Ukraine might feel it benefits it for the Russians to have a drone come down in NATO, anything that is perceived as Russia going too far benefits Ukraine, right? So if a Russian drone were to hit NATO, it means the NATO folks would get pissed off and contact the Russians and say, "Don't you dare do that again." Thank you, JRD. So potentially it it helps it helps Romania, for example, see that they are at risk. Okay, Romanians. It certainly helps Romanians see, okay, this Russia thing, this war isn't that far, right? Which is good, I guess, for Romanians in a way. But nonetheless, yeah, they didn't lie. That's what I'm saying, Brandon. Last year, they thought the Russian missile hit Poland, and it wasn't. It ended up being one of their own. Well, we don't know whose it was, by the way. Did we ever get a final investigation? I remember the S-300 that came down, and they thought it was the Ukrainians thought it was the Russians. The Poles thought it was the Ukrainians. Mind you, both of them used the same missile, okay, which is why the Ukrainians may have gotten it wrong. But was there a final? Did we ever get word on the final investigation, though? I'm not remembering that. I'm remembering Poland saying, we think it's Ukraine, and Ukraine going, no, it's not. Right? Right? No, but I remember us all thinking it must have been a Ukrainian missile, and the Ukrainians going, no way. But Poland officially said it wasn't a Russian missile. Okay. In any case, but I was just going to say that Poland could have been scared of escalating. But in any case, that's what I'm saying. Ukraine doesn't always get it right, but I've never really seen a case where I've seen Ukraine lying. That's what I mean. I haven't heard of the investigation closing either. That's the thing I think is weird, Anyway, what else, guys? What else? What else? Will Ukraine try to get nukes if they aren't accepted to NATO? The problem is, how do you get nukes? I mean, I'm not really an expert on getting nukes, but it's not really easy. I know just alone getting the uranium is not easy, right? As we've seen with Iran, but it's not easy to get it, but also it's not easy to hide it that you're doing it. So if Ukraine were to try to get a nuke, the Russians would probably nuke them, is the thing, I think. I will say this, if Ukraine could get a nuke, Ukraine should have kept its nukes, of course. Yeah, I'm not an expert at acquiring nukes, exactly. But Ukraine should have never given up its nuclear weapons. And by the way, again, this is something that if Biden actually wanted to sell the war to the American people, which he doesn't apparently want to do, but you could tell the American people that, if Ukraine loses this war, this is a lesson to every country around the world that if you've got nukes, don't ever give them up. By the way, Pakistan, India, Israel. And if you don't have nukes, get them. Because you're going to get invaded, and even the allies who defend you are going to go, well, we don't really want to give you F-16s, and they're going to play games with you the whole time. But that would be one good way to sell the war in Ukraine to a lot of people, is to say, do you really want every country in the world to say we should get nuclear weapons? And frankly, you also should talk about the Budapest Memorandum, where, the Brits, the Americans, I think the French too, had made some security guarantees to Ukraine in exchange for getting up. They got rid of their nukes because of us. Clinton admitted he felt bad about it. We convinced them to get rid of their nukes and told them they would be safe from Russia. They weren't. Had they kept their nukes, they would have been safe from Russia. On that account alone, we owe them, I think. We owe them. And you could make that argument. That's the kind of argument I could see Boris Johnson making. Joe Biden doesn't want to convince people of you. He wants it to be in the middle. Kind of well, we help them, but no, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, no one should have nukes, but I mean, you can't uninvent a nuke is the problem. You know what I mean? Anyway, what else, guys? Ukraine just needs to hack into Russia's nuclear codes. That'd be scary, and then announce it. True, but a little scary. Interesting, though. Ukrainians have the expertise. They have a thriving nuclear industry. Well, I mean, again, if having nukes or joining NATO would be the two ways of protecting themselves. But good luck. What else, guys? Any other questions, or should we call it quits? It's 5 after. I'm hoping things are, well, actually today is kind of a holiday too in America, so it is slow, but hoping September will pick up again. We had although TikTok overall has had like an August slowdown. And information on the dam being rebuilt. There was a really interesting story I read this weekend about the ongoing long-term sort of environmental damage from the dam. It's, but I'm trying to think. The only thing I saw this weekend, a different story about the dam, two different stories about the dam the Russians blew up in southern Ukraine. What I saw that was interesting is that there was talk about come winter, because the water is so less, right? I mean, there was a ton of water backed up in a reservoir. That reservoir's gone. That the thinking is that the water could freeze. Scott Ritter, why would we want to watch a convicted pedophile's view on Ukraine? I mean, thank you, thank you, mods, for catching that one. I'm like, that's just a little messed up. But some of the experts were saying it looks like over the winter, now I don't know whether it's up here or down here that they're talking about, but that this could freeze, and it could significantly freeze to the point where you could drive vehicles over it. So all of a sudden the Russians didn't put as many defenses around here because they were assuming the Ukrainians weren't going to cross the river, and then the Russians blew the dam, and what do you know, the river kind of went away. At least it went away a lot. So if this freezes over, the Ukrainians can cross it. Could this be a different offensive in the winter? Maybe. Hey, Christopher, they'd have to have enough, weapons and troops to do it, right? I mean, so that's one of the big prerequisites to another offensive, is to have the troops, and the weapons. So, but who knows, All right, guys, beep, deep, deep. All right, I think I'm gonna do my quick summary of the news and then maybe call it quits for today, and then go have dinner because I'm hungry. Oops, sorry, dog. You're okay. The dog's looking at me again like, you are not going to, hey, Vincent and Malta, like, you are not going to cause me trouble. All right, guys, thank you, Magical. Let me do a quick summary of the stories, and then we'll go. Today's day 558 of Putin's 3-day special military operation. Ukraine says Russian drones crashed in Romania during a 3-hour-long attack on the Ukrainian port in the area. The Romanians are kind of denying it, but not totally denying it. I think their Ukrainian drones did land in Romania, and Romania is trying to downplay it. Erdogan in Turkey was in Russia to discuss the grain deal with the Russians. No agreement was signed. Russians are being a pain. Sky News had a counteroffensive update, basically saying Ukrainian forces have been moving more freely in the Zaporizhia region after breaching Russia's strongest, most densely mined line of defenses. A fire broke out at an oil depot in St. Petersburg, Russia. Not clear if it was Ukraine, but we hope so. Thank you, Carl. Zelensky says he struck a key deal on pilot training in France, but we don't know to train on what, because the French don't have F-16s. Does this mean the French are going to be providing fighter aircraft to the Ukrainians? Interesting, but we don't know. Reznikov, the defense minister of Ukraine, steps down, and a new guy, Rustem Umerov, is now the defense minister, well liked by many. A German member of parliament says that it is Chancellor Scholz, the leader of Germany, who is blocking the transfer of Taurus missiles to Ukraine. Politico reports that the West, that the Hungarians are saying the West should give security guarantees to Russia and ban Ukraine from joining NATO in order to end the war. And finally, Ukraine launched 2 drones into the Kursk region of Russia and started a fire at a building belonging to the FSB, which is the follow-on agency to the KGB. All right, guys, that is it for today. Tomorrow, well, hopefully tomorrow becomes sort of a busier day now that everyone's coming back from vacation today. We're in France. You're probably already back, la rentrée. But in America, today's a holiday, so people are coming back now. And then back tomorrow, 6 p.m., Eastern time US tomorrow. And there we go. All right, so thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Do check out my Discord. Like I said, we've got the auctions over there. Also, it's a good place to hang out. Just a lot of discussions on Ukraine and everything else. And I check in there all the time. So if people want to ask me a question, just at me, over on Discord, and I'll weigh in as well. I always check my stuff over there several times a day. And that's about it. So thank you, mods, for going after the trolls. Oh, is that a question or a comment? Oh, that's just a thanks from Dark Iris. Thank you, Dark Iris. Thanks for taking the time of this holiday. Get mom and me some ice cream. Mom's got some ice cream in the freezer. A little rich for her, but we'll have some. The oven is back on here in the Northeast. Oh God, really? It's already, well, we're using the oven here, but it's hotter than hell the next 2 days. But then Wednesday gets normal again. So that's nice in the Midwest. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everybody. See you all tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time, US. Okay? Boom. A Trump troll just called you fat on YouTube. Did you sort of ask and go, how do you know? Also, you're a Trump supporter, right? But let's not even go there. All right, guys. 42 here in Ontario. I assume you mean Celsius. That's insane. I did say Discord. I've got a Discord community. It's discord.aravosis.com. You can also just Google Discord and Aravosis. I'm not going to go and hang out there. We'll also do a live show there. I'm not going to go hang out there live tonight, but I check it out several times during the day and several times at night. So feel free to go in there and, leave me messages. I'll respond and everything else. 45 in Montana. I think they're saying 42 Celsius, which is like 108. Unless they mean Fahrenheit, which maybe they do mean Fahrenheit. I don't know. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. I don't know.